That shot is made. Number 11. Well, anyone who's running deep should be ready to make that play. We have Alexis, number 17, picking up the frisbee, tugging the end zone there. Looks like Vintage has their vertical stack offset a little bit closer to the home side, which makes it more space for number 11 to make that play. If it's not there, she looks to make it to number 66. Nice pass. Unfortunately, it just bounces off the fingertips. So Misfit has a chance to play some offense. We've seen a lot of times, not even just in the previous games as well, where they have been on the doorstep on that end zone, just not been able to complete. It is really tough because the defense is a lot more alert, especially at the end zone, because if they manage to score in it, it's a point. So something I'm noticing here is that number 66 is a little bit looser on the mark as a handler. One of the things I like to... nice throw there by number 11. Number 3 is on an island by himself, and that is a point there for Misfit. So it's crazy how much momentum goes a really long way in a game like this, because Vintage had a really solid offense all the way up until the end zone. And then all it took for Misfit was one really big shot to a wide open player near the end zone for the score. That's all it took. Momentum can really make or break certain teams depending on how much they use it as a factor. But in terms of overall good quality, it's been good actually on both sides. But at the end of the day, all you need to do is get that frisbee to the end zone. To me, doesn't matter how you do it. Winning comes in different forms, different ways. And us as coaches, we have gotten accustomed to that, because there are some wins where we are very proud of, and then there's also some wins where it can be like, it can definitely look better, but at the end of the day, a dub's a dub. All right, we'll see what Vintage can make of this next point here, as Misfit is up 1-0. Whenever a pull is landed right on the frisbee and they don't catch it here, it does take some time for the offense to pick up, but it looks like they managed to do that here with a couple of really good swings. It's a little bit of a travel call there. Now, of course, you are allowed a certain amount of steps to sort of slow down your momentum to stop, but because it's a self-officiated game, it's up to the player's judgment whether or not they want to constitute it as a travel. Good look there right through that loose zone defense by Misfit, but it was just a little bit too low. Makes it a little bit tougher to catch. Number 6 there with the disc. Looks down the field for a pass. Nice undercut. The disc was just a little bit overshot. Now we have Vintage running for the races. Number 17, Alexis, the female matching player for Vintage, is known for these really big-time shots. As someone who's coached her, kind of encouraged her to do that, because it's very rare to find those opportunities. And with Junior Club, they like to find those. Good movement, though. Just an unfortunate pass there from number 20. And now Misfit has a chance to get this second point. Big shot there towards the end zone to number 14. Number 11 is there, but 14 gets the point. It is up. Misfit is up 2-0. Now the question here becomes, how is Vintage going to adjust? All right, Misfit is geared up for a pull here as Vintage is entering this point on offense to start. Looks like we have three. Whenever I see three hard sprinters from one team run right down, that indicates a zone, which is exactly what's happening. Looks like they're putting a lot more pressure on these handlers. One of the biggest tell for me there is when the cup is very, very tight on the handlers. As you can see how close they are. Actually, it could come to the point of double team, but the reason why it's not called is because there are two Vintage players that are there that is essentially canceling out that double team. Nice dump right there to number 5, who swings it right across the field to 11. Opts to complete that swing to keep that cup running. This is where they found success in that first point, and they are looking to see if they can replicate that offense. They are running that give-and-go action that Nitro was doing earlier in the day. Look, good to see that. Number 11 back to number 20. That third handler was a little bit too far, and the Nitro, and the Misfit player just got there close enough. They're both wearing white, so it was tough for me to discern the difference. 20 to 66. Couple of fakes there to wave them off. Big shot there at the end zone for Vintage. Oh, and it's just intercepted there by Kai from Misfit. And Misfit gets their chance to play some offense here. I think Vintage is just going to opt to play person defense. Let's see where they are going to force. So we have an away force here. So when the disc is on the home side, then it's a force away. Chances are you would just flat mark here as opposed to forcing it away, just because repositioning yourself to force away is kind of counterproductive to do because your back would be turned towards the end zone. Oh, nice recovery catch there from Misfit. It's always good to see those athletic grabs. But it looks like Vintage is trying to argue for a down call there. Once again, this is self-officiated, which means that players do have the opportunity to sort of talk things out, and if they don't agree, then it's just going to be contested, and it'll just be back to the previous thrower, which is number 8. Ups to swing across to Bucket Hat. There's a couple of them here, actually, but I can't see the number. So, and just a miss shot there, making it hard for number 22 to make that catch. And now Vintage is now on the doorstep of the end zone once again. Big cut there from number 8 behind the end zone. Opposite takes the under. Now they're getting right back on defense. These are catches that very high percentage plays and catches, but sometimes when they don't happen, you want to take advantage of it, as Misfit is looking to do that. Forcing it away. Oh, nice interception. Nice anticipation read there from number 8. Who is looking to now pick up the Frisbee. Number 99 is his reset handler, which means that if he doesn't find any options down the field, he can look behind. I would like number 99 to be a little bit further away so that the cuts can be a lot more decisive. Versus here, he might have to do a little bit of dancing if he wants to get himself open, or considering he's being face guarded, they can just opt to just throw it over the heads. Big shot there once again. Number 66. Oh, Misfit players got really good positioning there. I can see Vintage's coach shaking his head. As a coach, I tend to do that from time to time, although we try to keep it as subtle as possible. Misfit with the disc once again. Nice catch there by Kai. A little bit of an overhead pass there. Putting that disc towards the open side. Kai has been running these deep shots every time they've been there. Good timing there to know that if it's not coming towards him, he just comes right back, and you don't necessarily need to run or sprint right back, because you got 5 other teammates who can make options. So that's the opportunity where you can take a little bit of a walk if you want. Ooh. Few too many high releases there. At some point, with some good anticipation, they were going to be able to read it. Now Vintage has a chance to get this point. Opts to look off that across cut towards the home side. Right there to number 24. A lot of these upline cuts are being made, and a lot of these points are being made where they are actually throwing it past both the receiver and the defender to give the receiver that positional advantage for them to catch the Frisbee, regardless of whether or not they're shorter or taller than their defender, or if they're faster or not as fast. So it's always a two-way street here when it comes to passing and throwing. Half the battle is the thrower's ability to directly aim those shots. And the other half is the cutter's ability to be in the right position or to fight for the right position. It applies to both sky battles when they're jumping in the air to catch, and also making runs towards a certain spot. on the disc. And the field. The score is currently 2-1 for Misfit, so this is Vintage's first point of the game. Still very early in the game, so anything can happen. As I mentioned before, the first few minutes are usually feeling out the field, trying to see what your opponents like to do or don't like to do, and then later down the game is where you make all those adjustments. So we'll see how each team finishes. Looking at it right away, Misfit is looking to set up that vertical offense. So for those who don't run vertical offense as much, it is a more dynamic kind of offense in which the only space that's really available to you is the deep and the under. So the defenders will be looking to adjust their positioning in that way, which means in order to create that positioning, the players themselves have to communicate who is going to cut under, who's going to cut deep, are they going to make simultaneous attacks. The first guideline I always try to follow on horizontal offense is scan the field, look who's open, and it looks like they're trying to run that horizontal against the zone. So Vintage has set up their zone offense here. Opts to dump, swing right away. Are they looking to complete that swing? No, he holds that frisbee. That's good anticipation from number 99 there on Vintage. And Vintage is slowing down the pacing of this offense, which is actually what you want to do when you are the defender. But Misfit manages to find that pass up there, up the field. Number 17 with the catch. Oh, throws it right there. You want that pass to be a leading pass for the receiver to be able to have plenty of time to gather themselves and prepare for the next pass. Now Vintage has a chance to tie up this game at 2 apiece. We have number 24 with the frisbee. Looking to see what options he has. He has that upline option available. Great pass there up the line. Now they are on the doorstep of the end zone. It looks like Vintage is looking to set up that vertical stack, but just a turnover there and a big shot to number 17. Do we have Vintage being able to block it? There is a bit of a collision there. We have seen a fair share of injuries so far in this tournament, even in the last couple of games that we have broadcasted, which is unfortunate, but it just shows the determination of these athletes to make plays for the frisbee on both offense and defense and keep that game alive. Also an opportunity for players to get water. Interesting. It looks like Misfit is taking this opportunity to take subs of their own. Usually when a potential injury sub happens and the player who gets injured has to sub out, the other team does have the opportunity to make subs as well. The turnover does stand, however. To me, it looked like he did have the hand of the frisbee before the collision happened. And Misfit is now looking to set up his zone. So right away, I'm seeing that the handlers are wide open. You got Kai there, who's on the mid spot, pretty much leaving the handlers open. Although he's a little bit further, actually kind of crouching towards the middle here, which means that the players on the away side are pretty much on an island. So it's just a matter of looking for the, wow, we have a sea of islands there. Oh, and an unfortunate turnover there with a sea of bodies going on the Frisbee. All right, looks like an acknowledged call of it being down, which means that Misfit is right on the toe of the end zone here with this upcoming offensive possession. So Misfit looks like they have a bit of an ISO play here by Kai. Opts to clear out, swing over to the break side because they were forcing it home. Nice shot inside by Misfit there to be up the score 3-1. Pacing is definitely a lot faster between both teams, and sometimes being able to navigate through fast pace, it's a double-edged sword for sure. A lot of players who like to play the game a little bit faster pacing has the advantage of, as long as they are proactive in their cuts, they keep the defenders moving, but at the same time, if they don't put enough control in where they look, sometimes that can lead to the turnovers that they're making. But a lot of the times they are all very good looks that they're making. But its score is still only 3-1. Still plenty of opportunities. So far, from what I've seen, Misfit is definitely running a bit of a faster pace with the fact that they are not afraid to look for those hucks if they have it. Whereas Vintage is looking to play a little bit more of a diverse game in that whatever options they have that are open, if it's going to be a dump swing or a series of undercuts, then that's what they're going to take. You can see the Vintage coach here is debating whether or not he wants to take a timeout, and by the sounds of it, he has now signaled that timeout. The interesting thing about timeouts is, for me as a coach, definitely a strategic thing to do as well. Sometimes you'll want to call timeouts after a point if the score deficit is growing more and more for you. Sometimes you'll want to call a timeout if it's been a very long point and you want a break. Sometimes you'll want to call a timeout near the end zone when you're about to score, because as you can see, it's a good opportunity for us to get that point off. We saw that timeout opportunity earlier with the Voltage game where they were able to get a good play off in the end zone to score. Vintage is opting to use this timeout more to sort of slow things down, change the pace of the game. They've been playing very good upfield or downfield offense towards the end zone, but closer to that end zone, it looks like they get more and more energetic as they get closer to the end zone. But we always say you want to be calmer and more relaxed, because defenders like to look for those opportunities where they can pounce on indecisive offense, and that's where they maximize their defensive capabilities the most. And we've seen that so far throughout the day. While I was catching my breath here off of this timeout, I was able to overhear a little bit of Vintage's speech here off the timeout. It looks like all they're trying to do is just get the players in the game, just play some Frisbee, play with intensity, but also playing the game the right way, making those right passes, completing their catches, making sure they're composed and focused, and they'll be right in it. And it looks like Alexis is back, the one female matching player on an open team. For those of you who missed the earlier part of the broadcast, is the reason why we call these teams open teams, because female matching players are open to play with the male matching players. And that is the case there with Alexis. All right, it looks like Misfit has set up their zone offense once again. Opts for a bit of a high release there. They have an opportunity for that dribbling sequence between number 9 there. I can't see who the other one is there. They reset it back, but looks like these 14 is looking to anticipate that pass to Alexis on the home side, so they cut that off. But they can look it right back. The reason why you cut that off in the beginning is because you're trying to cut off that momentum and slow the game down a little bit. And it looks like Misfit now has put themselves a little bit closer. Oh, looks like Misfit is looking to make a play there, fails, and now puts themselves out of position. This is another thing there, is when you're looking to make a defensive play on the Frisbee, you put yourself out of position regardless of where you are. And now you have an opportunity there to swing it all the way to the home side. Vintage's offense has gotten a lot more focused. A bit of a high release there. Nice recovery. Looks like they're arguing it. There might be a down call. That one's a bit tough because the throw was a little bit blady, which means it was hitting the ground at a bit of a faster rate than it would have if it was a little flat. And it is a down call, which means it is Misfit's disc on offense, and Vintage is just opting right into person offense. Big huck there to number 9. Always tough there when those kinds of throws are blady. So when I talk about a throw being blady, the disc is angled downwards towards the ground, which means gravity will bring it down a little bit, versus when it was flat, it has a bit more time to float up and gives the receiver more time to run to the Frisbee and catch it, especially if your intention is to make sure that the defender doesn't get a chance to make a play. Nice fake there to force the cup to crash a little bit, which gives more space there for the offense to get moving. There you go, number 66 there with the Frisbee. Fakes it. I like these subtle fakes that they're doing, because just because you fake at someone doesn't mean that they're not going to be open anymore. You can make it open there right away. We have Alexis there with the Frisbee, opts to reset it back, which is a very good move. These high releases have been very effective, and they're finding their marks down the field. Sometimes you don't need to cut to get yourself open, and now they are approaching the doorstep of the end zone. Oh, big throw there. I believe that intention there was to get it a little bit more towards the away side, hence why there was a little bit of angle and edge there on that throw, but it ended up going a little bit too flat. But I saw the vision. And looks like it is a contested call there, so it will go back to Alexis on Vintage, which means they get another chance to look for another pass to make. Opts to go there for that cross cut on the swing, and a point for Vintage to score on the home side by 2 subsequent passes. And Vintage is right back, and now it is getting close. It is 3-2.
Switch on their defense here, that's going to create openings, okay? The more times that we can get it where they don't just stick with one.
Honestly, my favorite part about playing, watching, coaching, not even just for Frisbee, but also for other sports as well, is the strategy aspect of it. As someone who is not the most athletic, not the fastest player, definitely not someone who's willing to dive to the ground for Frisbees, I look for other ways to contribute onto the field in many different ways, which relies on a lot of strategy and creativity. As Vintage pulls it right down the field. Misfit catches. A lot of the times, well, at least for me, I don't tend to try to catch throws like that go straight to the ground, because if that catch was dropped, it went straight to the ground, it is considered a turnover. But, oh, a nice little scoober there. Again, a big fan of hammers and scoobers, which are overhead throws. The intention of those kinds of throws is to get it over the heads of players in a way where wind doesn't become a factor. But Misfit is finding these lanes opportunities down the field. And once again, there is Kai at the end zone. That is a little bit of an overshoot at the end zone there, which is tough. But all the passes they were able to find, they were just able to completely rip through this Vintage zone. Time for Vintage to be a little bit more alert. Time for maybe the mids to start looking for anticipating on those second or third passes. But it's hard to do that when the first pass itself is very sharp and very to their mark. Vintage now picking up right away, looks for that pass. That's something I definitely would want to see more on zone offenses. That first pass, right when the disc is picked up, you gotta keep that defense moving. Part of it is also the skill on offense and looking for those opportunities and passes in consecutive action there. Plenty of time there for number 11. Dumps it right back. Looks to get it back on that dribbling action. You got to keep that momentum going. There we go. Keep that swing moving there. Number 10 is just jogging to anticipate that next pass. Opts to go for that high. Nice jump there from Vintage to recover that disc. Good high release. They're using a lot of these pop passes. They're shorter. They're more over the heads, intended to get it over the marks of the defender. And it looks like they're able to control it in a way that wind doesn't have that much of a factor on these kinds of passes. We got these swings going here. I would have liked to see that continuation there. Perhaps a fake to get 24 moving and then pass it right after. But looks like these are becoming a bit of a staple in their zone offense. But the Misfit mids are doing a it's definitely clear how. And now Misfit is up with this pull. Vintage is going to start this possession on offense. Once again, I see 3 players running a lot faster than the others, which means we are seeing a zone setup. It does land out of bounds, which means that Vintage can center it. And because it went outside of the brick mark, which are those 2 flat cones in front of the end zone, that is where they will be centering the disc, which means they do get a little bit of a yardage gain. Because normally, if the disc is pulled and it goes out of bounds, they just take it to the center where it goes out. But if it's past the brick mark, they take it to the brick mark. They're looking to establish that momentum by those little short gains. It may not look like they're looking to gain any yards from that, but if they gain that momentum, they force that zone to move out of position to find another opening. Big high release there. Sea of bodies. Good catch there by number 14. That is the risk when you try to go for those high release passes there, is that you risk those Misfit players, or literally any defending players, to go for those blocks. Massive grab there by number 14. Swings it to the open side. A little bit of give-go action. Rule of thumb I like to follow: throw open, go open. He caught it, he threw open, he went open. And when I mean throw open, he threw it to someone who was wide open, and he had a lane that was wide open in front of him. That's exactly what happened. Very textbook give-go ultimate. I'm both very pleased and also not surprised that this is the level of ultimate that I am seeing from these two teams, as in the previous tournament, which is BCUC's, the regional tournament for British Columbia, they were competing against teams that were looking to compete for nationals in Edmonton. So them being accustomed to very high level ultimate means that they're just going to naturally absorb and adapt those same techniques. And a full by Misfit to start this next point. And Vintage picks up. Once again, 3 players running much faster than the others, which means we have a zone set up here right away. Something I'm going to look for more now is how these mids position themselves, because we see a couple of Vintage open. For example, number 3 behind me here was wide open, but the kind of pass to be able to make from where the Frisbee was at the time 3 was open to get to him would have been a tough shot, but it would have been nice to see. And there it is, right to number 3, and he is found there. I had a feeling he had that shot. I've known EJ for a bit. I've seen what kind of throws he can do. It was just a matter of time there. Good cuts there by number 10. Number 3 gets the Frisbee right back. Looks for that swing, makes that swing, number 8. EJ comes back, 26. And number 11 has plenty of time to catch there, and Vintage scores. That was a very, very solid. I like how the moment I started looking at the mids, I'm like, I had a feeling Vintage had their mids players open there the whole time. The thing with zone offense is sometimes, most of the time, you don't need to cut to get yourself open. Sometimes all it takes is eye contact between the thrower and someone who's open. Usually if you make that eye contact that far in the first place, it means you have something there that you can probably look to pass to. Otherwise, why make the look? Where while you can find someone else who can make that opportunity, or if you need to be in a better position, run a little bit of give-go action with the intention of getting to that spot where you want to gain some more yards. And with that Vintage score puts us to 5-3 for Misfit, so we still have a game. Remember, seeing how Misfit was able to score that first point really quickly, momentum can happen in very unpredictable ways. Sometimes momentum can be established in 2 minutes, sometimes it might take 20 minutes. But you do want it on your side, because energy is a big factor, and that is right in the end zone, so he has to pick it up there. Vintage is really picking up this defense. They want to have this defensive stop. Now, sometimes even something like a really big pull like that can put a lot of pressure. It's still hovering in the back of the end zone. Now we have a sea of bodies. Good catch there by Kai for the recovery, however. Oh, looked to throw that a couple times, but that was good closeout defense by Vintage to stop that huck from happening in a good quality throw. Looking again on the opposite side of the field, when I'm on zone offense, the first thing I like to look at, well, in all reality, anytime I'm watching a sport, I always like looking at the players who don't have the frisbee to see how they move and communicate with each other to get themselves open. And a Callahan by Vintage. Hard to see here because we're not on an elevated platform, but a Callahan there from Vintage. They just talked about this momentum, and that's a pretty big boost there to momentum of Vintage. Not to mention it only now it's just a 1-point game. Truly anything can happen. We just have under 30 minutes left. Sometimes I like the way I time the things I talk about because things just happen right when I call it. Just talked about momentum before that pole was thrown. That pole went right to the back of the end zone, which means Misfit was in a lot of pressure there. They were able to get it up a few times there, but the momentum went right on Vintage's side. I don't want to show that I'm biased towards anything, but I'm more biased towards my timing, and I'll take credit for that. But no, regardless, that was amazing defense by Vintage. Big pull here by Vintage. Are they able to replicate it? Not that time, but you know what? That's okay. I'm not quite sure what the call is here, but what's... Oh, offside? So it looks like an offside call was made. I did notice by how far the thrower was up. But again, it is self-officiated. So it's been acknowledged by both sides. So it looks like it will be a repull. Now, there are certain calls where...
Is the first one not? No, it goes to the brick. Does it? Okay. Hey, it goes to the brick. Oh, David, brick. Brick, David, brick. Also, hold that anarchy. I'm sorry. That's okay. You should not be calling that from over there. Especially because both teams have been so offside. Yes. I'm sorry about that. That's okay. Well, I guess it's both offside.
Wow, what a rare. I think this is the first time I've ever seen an offside call made by the players. Usually offside is reserved for observers. So with the way this game works, most of the time it is self-officiated, but there are some games where they will employ to have observers who provide another perspective on the field. So while the players still make most of the calls that happen on the field, observers, for things like offside, it is the observers that are able to make that call. But knowing that the first instance of offside violation is just starting from the brick side. There are a few calls where if it's multiple violations, then the consequences of that are different. For example, with the travel call, the first instance is just taking a few steps back, and then the second instance, the violation, its count is up, and then the third violation, turnover. Offside's the same thing, just with different symptoms, and we don't really see it here because it's hard to make that call because if it's being self-officiated, the only way for you to make that call is for you to be able to see it from down the field. And unless you're 20 or 30 feet tall or you're looking at a camera lens, then it's a bit tough to call. But Vintage is putting up this pressure on Misfit's on the zone on Misfit. So even though they are still able to make finds down the field, it's going to take time. It's going to take a bunch of passes, a bunch of swing passes between the handlers before they can find that opening. And Vintage is just looking to put that pressure on. They have it trapped on the sideline. So we only talk about trapping when it's close to the sideline because it's a bit of a sideline. It's more of a sideline force now than it normally is. And the Cups are doing their best to stop the inside lanes and the swings from happening. If you're on the break side, you want to try and stop those inside shots or the swings that are going to the break side. And if you're home, well, you got to be a lot more attentive. But at the same time, we want to keep those passes there. So there's always a bit of give and take. And they so far have not, oh, there we go. They found some opportunities to move it up. They managed to move it up now between the end zone and the brick mark. But still, great pressure defense here. But also good composure from Misfit. There's that find there. Unfortunately, it was unfortunately a turnover there. But regardless, that was still a good find from Misfit. Just an unfortunate turnover. And Vintage here with the pickup by number 99. That first pass is an upline there. Oh, a bit floaty up there on the sideline, which does give the Misfit defender plenty of time to make a play for the Frisbee. Looks like there may have been a call. It's kind of interesting hearing some of the reactions to some of the calls have been made. I mean, in all honesty, anything that causes a stoppage of play is always going to cause some rather disappointing reactions, sometimes even from coaches and players. But at the same time, what difference would it make if it was made by a referee or an observer? It's all about a game of momentum. Looks like it will be a contested call, and it will be back to thrower, which means we get another chance here to look around the field, scan the field, look for those options. We have that fake reset there. Fake upline, fake back down to reset from number 8. Disc is now centered towards the field, which means they now have more options to look left or right. Back to 99, closer to the home side once again. Nice around shot there, a little bit floaty, but great hops there from Vintage to recover. By number 15, good jump, good athleticism and recovery by number 15 to secure that pass. And now we're now once again at the end zone. Looking to see what Vintage makes of this possession here. Oh, good closeout defense there by number 14, who's been hustling and working out there for Misfit. Kai as well has been doing pretty well for them. Good swing around to number 24. There it is. Nice pass there by number 14. Now Kai split them off there, number 30, but Vintage has recovered to both. So it's good recovery defense here by Vintage. But Misfit is now on the doorstep of the end zone. Swings it across number 9 to a wide open player on the away side to number 13. Looks like a little bit of a reaction there to that spike at the end. Looks like tension is building up a little bit here, but that is just the nature of very, very competitive sports. I did mention that these two teams have been accustomed to playing very high-level Ultimate Frisbee. Sometimes emotions will run high, so it's great job by the coaches here on both sides to sort of keep things cool, keep it relaxed. You know, they're still having fun, they're still playing Frisbee, but at the same time, can also get very competitive. They are in this is the semifinals. The winner of this game will have a trip right to the finals. And they will take on the winner of Vertigo and Nitro. Sometimes tensions will run high, and that does happen. taking a little bit of a timeout here from both sides to make sure that they recover themselves. While they're looking to recover themselves and recompose for the rest of the game, I am going to take this opportunity to plug BAC Ultimate, which has been producing the world's best ultimate apparel since 1998. Locally in Canada, you can find your higher quality gear there at vcultimate.com. And it looks like teams are getting ready to bring themselves back a little bit here, well, at least for the Misfit side. Vintage is looking to, once again, rally their troops up and getting ready to finish this game strong. They have gotten considerably stronger in terms of their composure, their focus, since that timeout that they took earlier in the game. I can hear their coach really motivating their players over there, which is awesome to hear. It's always one of the things I always thought was my weakness as a coach was I was really good at being able to see strategy off the field, on the field. The ability to hype up the emotions of the players was something I could never do, considering I'm a little bit more calmer in my tone. So now Vintage and Misfit are putting on their next lines. And it looks like the coaches from both sides are making adjustments for their team. Looks like Misfit is doing a bit of a defensive adjustment here, just based on what they're emphasizing over on the defensive end, especially with the coach that's wearing black. Whereas Vintage has a bit more of a calmer approach, which means it's a little bit harder for me to read what they're trying to adjust for. It looks like it could be offense, because based on what I've seen how Vintage has played, their defense has been very good and energetic, but their offense has sort of gone wary sometimes, whereas Misfit's been more consistent on both sides. They bring the intensity on both offense and defense. And it's led to a pretty close game here. Vintage is still down, but again, anything can happen. Of course, Misfit did pick up that momentum there from that point earlier that caused that timeout to happen. Here we go. Oh, Alexis is back on the field. And we have that zone set up once again. Opts to swing right away there. Nice around there. Oh, a little bit. That was a little bit floaty on that throw. I think a little bit more of a laser shot definitely would have secured it to 66 without the defender having that much of an impact. And Kai once again booking it to the end zone. 11 is there, ready to contest. Oh, causes him to jump. Oh, but a good layout recovery. Oh, looks like he acknowledged the call that it was down. He did try to argue that he did cut it up, but looks like which means that Vintage gets another shot at it. Regardless, that was a great run by Kai there at the end zone, not waiting for the person to set up. Misfit gets the D to get recovery on offense right again, and once again blocked by Vintage. Whenever I see when you combine two teams that run and really hustle versus floaty throws, then it becomes a bit tough there with a block from 36, looking down the field, and Misfit has scored. This time we have Vintage starting off with the pull on defense. Let's see if they can replicate that same energy they did earlier when they got that layout Callahan earlier in the game. So we'll see if they can replicate that energy and see if they can bring momentum back towards their side, because right now Misfit is definitely a little bit more in the lead. We have 87 right on that mark there. 24 looking around the field, finds that swing across towards the away side, back to the center, towards home. Oh, that was nice how the frisbee just up and almost dumped right back down. Usually those kinds of throws tend to stay afloat a little too much. Good control though. Nice cut by Kai. Way to find number 30. Oh, and number 17 runs away. Could have been an opportunity there to dribble. Looks to reset to 12. Swing over. Looks to get it right back. Oh, close there. Recovery by Kai. All right, we have number 8 coming back to help with the handling ability, with the handling duties on offense. Scanning the field here just a little bit. It looks like Misfit's cup has gone a little bit looser, which means that space between the two cups, number 30 and number 24 in Misfit, is an open lane that a Vintage player can look to take advantage of if they want. They opt to do that dump swing, which we have seen a lot in zone offense. Oh, and it looks like we have a little bit of collision there as the Misfit player was looking to get back into position, but collides with the handler as he was looking for options down the field. Dumps it off right away, looks to try and get it back there. Not able to find it. Also swing, taking advantage of that loose cup, getting it down that lane in the middle there. And that's where they've managed to get a little bit of momentum. Looking to see if they can get it off of this sideline down towards the middle. I can feel this wind picking up a little bit. Doesn't look like that's going to be much of a factor. Number 6 looks around. There's that center lane once again. I would like to see someone take this pass. There we go. There is that find there between number 8 and 99. Good dribbling sequence to the end zone. And just a turnover there. They had all that momentum. Part of momentum is knowing when to control it, when to slow down, when to speed up. It is a tough thing to navigate when it comes to not just Frisbee, but any sports. Nice floaty shot around there for Misfit, getting that disc moving around. Typically, I would be scared to make those kinds of throws, especially in the wind, but it doesn't look like it's much of a concern here. Oh, good. Good anticipation there by 99, and another Callahan off of the defense. It's quick how that momentum can just come right back around. That has been Vintage's second Callahan of this game. It just goes to show that the kind of motivation they've been getting from their coaches has really translated to how they've played this game so far. And we most definitely still have a game. And the score, 7-5 for Misfit. Still only down 2, which is with the mentality that we like to encourage despite the score for our players. It makes them play with a bit more of that urgency when you tell them that they're down 2, even if they're up by quite a bit. All right, Vintage is looking to up the pressure on defense by being very active in their positioning, making sure that they're ready to react at any point notice when there's a pass made. Misfit is looking to swing it around there. They have yet to gain too many yards just yet, but sometimes all it takes is one throw. Nice athletic jump there by number 30 to recover there. Continue to play. Ups to dump and swing. Dump swing is a staple of the offense there. Plenty of time. Oh, but it is an out call there, which gives Vintage an opportunity to score this next point and just be down 1. There's not too much time on the clock left, so we'll see what Vintage makes of this opportunity that's right on their doorstep, because they're right on the doorstep of the end zone. Looks off that first upline cut there. Right to number 14. Puts them down 1. Just kidding. Never mind. I take that back. I'm a liar. Not yet. It looks like it was a pick call there for number 14 to get open, which allowed 12 to catch up there. Oh, and an unfortunate turnover. The stall count was rising there, which gave him very little time. And, oh, it looks like we have quite the collisions that are happening here. But, to be fair, that's momentum for you. Nice find there to 2 open Misfit players there. There's number 17 to number 12. Has a dump option. Opts to go for that floaty swing to the other side of the field. Duck to number 9, 12. Back to 9 for that little give-go dribbling action there. Opts to dump. Tends to look off the swing. 14 good anticipation defense there to cut that off. Back to number 13. 13 has been doing some pretty good work here for Misfit so far. To number 14. They're zigzagging around this field, making sure they're avoiding Vintage players along the line here. But it's been a really good game on both sides. It got a little bit intense for sure, but hey, that's the nature of competitive sports. It's going to happen. As long as they resolve it in a way where tensions are not too high, then I think it's a good game. 9 to 12. The handlers are doing a really good job at gaining that yards. They've gotten very active now in effectively getting that disc moving and around. Ops to dump swing. Their handlers are a little bit close, but looks like they might be accounting for the wind as well. Oh, and nice pressure defense there to force that turnover. We got number 8 pick up, calling for that center right away, but you know what? That up line is wide open. Looks like we had 2 players they miscommunicated. Thought they were marking one person, and then Vintage is off to the races once again towards the home side, where the side that's so hard for me to see. All right, got that pass off. They're edging out on this next point here. Let's see what they make of it. Nice swing. Not only because I can see, but also means that they're spreading out this field. Back to the home side and the score. And that's a break point for Vintage. So I've mentioned the idea of clean holds versus breaks. A clean hold is when you start the frisbee, when you start the possession on offense, and you score without any turnover. Well, there could be turnovers, but if you score on the same point where you started on offense, it is a hold. A clean hold means that you were able to do it with no turnovers, which means on that same possession that you started on offense, you scored on that same possession. If it's a break point, it means you started on defense, forced the turnover, and you score. It doesn't matter how many defensive stops you needed to get that, but if you managed to score when you started on defense, it's a break. We're in a little bit of an interesting scenario here. Vintage is only down 1, and we are in tournament play, which means that there must be a winner. If Vintage scores this next point, we are going into Universe. If Misfit scores this next point, then they win the game. There's only 2 minutes left until cap. Doesn't matter how long this point takes, as long as Vintage scores, it'll go to Universe. But obviously we don't want to see a point that takes 20 minutes because that is just super, super exhausting. I can sense a couple of power lines that are being put on both sides for offense and defense. Let's see if we can see a pull that went to the back of the end zone from one of the previous points that happened, but that's a big ask to do. This one is going to come right close to it. If it goes right on the sideline at least, they can start this possession off with a trap. All right, here we go. They have 99 on the cup once again. He's done amazing for them. Oh, we have an anticipation from 24. Good block there. That's a great read there on the defense. The disc was a little bit floaty, while 36 was sort of trying to not maximize the yard gain, but definitely while at the same time he was going for the frisbee. 24 was looking to accelerate it to get that block and managed to secure it. Or 14. Nope, it's 24. Oh, but they're upwind there, which gives it right there to number 8 with the interception. Swing, swing. Number 13 with the frisbee once again here. Looking down the field. There it is. To 36. Stepping right on that doorstep. They've upped their mark there. Oh, looks off Kai there on that pass. Oh, gives Vintage an opportunity to bring this point to Universe. It's been a very exciting game, actually. All right. Setting up this zone defense, seeing right away. The swings are wide open. Opts to take that first swing, second swing, third swing, right to the away side. Keep that cup moving. You want to keep that cup moving. Use lots of fakes to get them out of position. Once again, number 8 is there for that block. 8 has just always been in the right place for those blocks. A good mark on the disc there, forcing him to make that reset pass instead. Oh, nice pass there to number 13. That away force to Kai. Oh, 5. Number 5 was face guarding. And Misfit scores to win this semifinals game. This has been a very, very exciting game. Lots of good things on both sides. This was definitely a game of energy, motivation, momentum, and good plays overall from both sides of the field. So it was a great win for Misfit. And as I'm ending it off, this has been Vortex Cup presented by Vancouver Ultimate. Find Ultimate programs for all ages, skills, and levels across Metro Vancouver at VUL.ca. And Vancouver Ultimate would like to thank their preferred apparel provider, VZ Ultimate, as well as the London Pub, East Van Brewing, Friction Gloves, and the team that makes this broadcast happen. My name is Flo, and I will see you all in the next game.